Do you want to talk about Team Heretics, because they were one of the surprises from LEC this week? Obviously, from their rather kind of disastrous start to 2023 to the major roster changes that they've accomplished now. Surprisingly, keeping Evie, I think, but otherwise, parting ways with Jack Spectra and Ruby.
I mean, let's just put this on the table, Monty. Even though, yes, Ebby is utterly terrible and indefensible, you have to realize when it comes to Ruby and Ebby, that's like a fucking Sophie's Choice where you secretly want them both to die, but you can only pick one. And you're like, well, bloody hell, which one's pissing me off more? I guess mid lane's more important, so fuck it, bring in VTO. You know what I mean?
But look, I said this on Power Spike, Thorin, but if Evie just becomes the Looper of this roster, remember, Looper is a literal world champion, and his one job was to TP into bot lane. And guess what? Evie's one job has been on Heretics so far.
It is TP.
It's TP into bot lane. That's his job. And you know what? I'm here for it. I am here for Evie TPing into bot lane.
The way they're using those players, because I know what pro players are like, mate, and especially a team that has like a Japanese player with a French player with a Spanish player. I'm telling you right now, that screams to me, fucking Peter Dunn coached the team well. He had them prepared for what they were going to do, and he told them, essentially drilled into them, we would do it in these. You have like a flow chart. When in this situation, we do the TPs. Because you know what it's like. Back in the TP meta, Western teams were terrible at it. They were always the ones at TP disadvantage, or they'd use it too early, or they didn't know when you should use it to flank. So, like, the idea, one of the worst teams in the league with, like, a couple of good players is pulling that off consistently. That just looks like coaching staff diff, mate. That looks like Peter Dunn's gone to work.
Yeah, that's my read. We know that Peter Dunn, even if he doesn't have the best players, the skills that Peter Dunn has are using the strengths of his players extremely intelligently and building play styles and rosters that will play in potentially very specific ways.
He's appropriately named because he is just Peter. I'll get it done. And he will get it done.
And this roster, what did we want to see? We wanted to see VTO kind of activated again after he had a disappointing 2023 coming off his MVP performances. Very intriguingly, like picking the Kai'Sa into Perks' LeBlanc. It was very obvious that, and we heard. I was reading Peter Dunn's tweets about that afterwards, where he said that he just trusted VTO to pick the Kai'Sa. Basically, the thrust of it was VTO said, "Hey, pick me." Perks is going to pick the Static Shiv LeBlanc. They had picked it the day before on Vitality and done very well. And obviously, guys, Perks picking Static Shiv LeBlanc is the most evident thing of all time, because first off, Perks loves to play LeBlanc and he loves to split push, and this basically activates all the good things about Perks, right? Which is his ability to put pressure on the map, his individual decision making. How many times has Perks won games by appropriately putting pressure down in a side lane, right? A bazillion. Like, as soon as I saw a Static Shiv, I was like, wow, this is actually going to be really good for Vitality. So they baited him into it. And even though VTO apparently did very badly in this matchup in practice, did really well with it on stage, also building the Static Shiv, right? Providing kind of a more AP hybrid build with Nashers and Ginsus and Zhonya's. So it was a good pickup, can match the side lane pressure as well with Kai'Sa. So I really enjoyed this pickup. But also at the same time, if you look at kind of the way that Heretics has been playing, you know, they've got Flacket on the Lucian, they've got Flacket on the Draven, and they're TPing very aggressively into the bot lane to push winning scenarios in the bot lane, and also a lot of the times to help feed kills onto VTO. So that has come as a sacrifice for Evie. And yes, Evie has also almost thrown games like we saw against Vitality. I assume that's a communication issue because he's walking up into the mid lane when his team isn't there sometimes, or they're not all there, overextending. But if he's doing his job, Evie, they can win with Evie playing this way. It's just he can't be expected to potentially carry.
I mean, it does also help him that Cassante is still in the fucking meta. That certainly helps. And then here's the last thing that allows him to survive, Monty. This is why if I did have to do the Sophie's choice, I would have picked Ruby to die over Ebby in this metaphorical scenario in a video game Minecraft on twitch.tv. Because here's why, Monty. Right now, Europe has never had a weaker pool of top laners ever than this. If you watch the LPL and then you watch LEC, you would think one is like the little kids league. It's fucking sick how bad these top laners are. It's the shittest pool I've ever seen, because even the ones that potentially could be good, like the weak siders like Odoamne, are on the worst team. The ones that could be good are on the shittest team. So as a result, like, Ebby can get away with it. As long as he gets half the games on Cassante, and as you say, he's never going to be expected to win his lane. They're going to just play around Vethio and Flackhead. They're going to use the TP. He can survive. It's fine. It's obviously a fucking band-aided team, but whatever. It's actually a solid team, though. When you look at how bad they were before, these are decent pickups. In fact, some of them are very good. I think the Vethio one with Jankos, I can't wait to see how that keeps playing out. Flackhead's fine. Yes, he did that stupid fucking reckless around the Nexus, but whatever. By the way, this is where fans will always be insufferable, Monty. What they do is they've like slowed down the video, and they're like, actually, technically, you couldn't have entered the game. How did he know that in the time, you fucking clown? No one's at that. You do know the whole calculated meme comes from Hotshot GG and other people in like season 2, and the whole point of the meme is it's supposed to be ironic that of course you couldn't actually calculate if you're going to survive on 2 health. You obviously just gambled and you got lucky. No one actually calculates. I've said this before about the Jack teamfight breakdowns. What he's doing there is sort of articulating their actual like fucking subconscious understanding and feel for the game, but using the active voice as though that's what they're thinking. They're not actually thinking, and then I'm going to like bait out his flash, then I jump over it, then he clenches, then no, that's like, you know, here's the analogy that's mega one. That's like those fake self-defense courses they market for women, where they go right, and then a knife comes in here, you grab the hand, hi-ya, and then you pull him over your shoulder, punch, punch, punch. It's like while he's doing that, he stabbed you 5 times. If you know how like a real fight works, like that's what you're all making it sound. It's like when Soaz didn't hit that one last Nexus against OMG at season 5 Worlds, and they were like, "You only needed to hit it one more time." He didn't know that. He didn't know that, did he? You know that because you paused it, went back, had a million arguments on Reddit, and in the end, someone ran the numbers. No, he didn't know that. The point is he didn't try to end the game. That's my problem. It's not about if you succeed. He didn't try to end the game. So even with that said, he's still fine. He's still a fine player.
Yeah, I also think that, and obviously this is the drum that I have been beating for many, many years. One of the primary problems with League of Legends is crits. And even though crits get weighted and, you know, it's not true RNG, one of the issues with that play is whether he was going to get crits or not onto the Ahri, right? And so if he can't calculate accurately what's going to happen, then random events can occur, which are going to change the outcome of that play. And I hate it. You know, frankly, I hate it. I wish they would just do away with crits in this game, figure out a different way to work Yasuo and some of these champions that have crits that are automatically built into their kit, or crits worth differently for them, like Jhin as well, right? Because it is just very frustrating, and it makes it really hard for pro players to make the right decision, and it makes it very hard for us to analyze what the right position was in that scenario. Also, just as a point in this game, this is why Yuumi shouldn't be allowed in professional play. The fact that SK was almost able to come back in this game is completely outrageous.
It was only.
And it was because of Zeri and Yuumi. It was because of Zeri and Yuumi that they were even in this game at all. And it shouldn't take us to the point where we have to see this play from Flackid for them to potentially win or lose this game, because they were dominating this game for a lot of it. They were just completely dominating it, especially through the bot lane. And we shouldn't be able to have a rubber band mechanic with Zeri Yuumi that can prop SK back into this game.
No, the other thing about that as well is that was the most extreme example I've seen. But even then, like, because of how far ahead fucking Heretics were, they still weren't going to lose the game. Like, yeah, the first fight they lost, it looked exciting. They would have had to do that perfectly, like 3 times in a row. And as you saw, even X couldn't do that. You got too high for you, went in the pit. They got caught one by one. Like the other thing about Heretics is there's no way they're going to stay 3-0. That's a fraudulent 3-0 right there. They're a better team, but like, mate, they could have lost a bunch of these games. Like this was fucking sus as fuck the way they played it. Even against Vitality, they were just like trying to feed fucking kills to them. It was Ebby was actually criminal in that game, mate. That was one of those ones where they needed, woo, woo, woo. Right, we're going to fucking in police. What the fuck's going on here, sunshine? Look, you can't have a drink of water. And then my fucking partner's coming in, Dom, and he's going to go fucking ham. So you better tell me now. Your fucking teammates have already told, you know.
Here's the thing about it, though, because they're only doing the single round robin. Going 3-0 basically guarantees that you are going to head into the next phase.
It's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Here's the thing. They're an all right team, Monte. They're going to be like 5th or 6th.
Oh, yeah, they're much better than
better. But they're not going to be like the best team. Come on, the 3-0. You're dreaming if you'd see that, you know. Strength of schedule is still king. Some of those games just didn't check the eye test, you know.
Yeah,
just is what it is.
Yeah, they're clearly not going to be the best team in this league, not by a long shot with some of the other rosters that you have here, and some of which that
the good news is that a lot of teams
are going to be able to bounce back.
So you can maybe steal some more wins. Yeah, there might be some more available. You might have a nick over some big teams because a lot of teams look fucking shaky right now, mate.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.